Alright, people, you've seen the title, The Method to Tamashii's Madness, 4 releases. Now, right now, we are on Rock Chala's website, and shout out to him, because this website is going to provide an excellent backdrop for explaining why Tamashii releases the way they do now, and how they released before. So, without further ado, I have one question for you guys, and one favor is the more adequate way to say it. And that is, just listen to the video all the way through, and if you still have questions or disagreements, feel free to comment them. Absolutely, I always invite that. But, without further ado, to lay some groundwork, we're going to have several overarching themes that will help us to understand how Tamashii releases and why they release what they release at the time that they release it. So, without further ado, class is in session. Theme: saga/era, the fighters roster and games, movies and animation, and last but certainly not least, scarcity. The 1.0 era of releases. So before we delve deeply into this, right? Let me just say this. Those different criteria that I gave for releases in the beginning of the video are most applicable to how they release in the modern times, right? Not to this 1.0 era of releases, but we're going to go through the 1.0 era of releases so we can see how they used to do stuff and compare it to how they do stuff now, right? So, the first 3 rows, the 1.0 era of releases. Just looking at that, we can see that there's an emphasis on Android stuff, right? So Piccolo could fit into whatever era you want it to fit into, but since the majority of these releases are Android, seem to be Android related. The Super Saiyan Goku, alright, fine. Super Saiyan 2 Gohan, Super Saiyan Vegeta, Future Trunks, Perfect Cell, and just like that, we can see 6 out of those first 9 releases seem to be Android related. Now, one could make the argument that, hey, like Super Saiyan Goku and Super Saiyan Vegeta, we don't really know if they're truly Android, because they wear those same outfits in whatever era. No, that's the only time they wear those outfits, because, well, at least Vegeta, we know that Super Saiyan Vegeta for sure is Android, so it would be a safe assumption to say Goku's meant to be Android as well, right? Just with the manga colors, with the brighter orange. Either way, all the other releases, let's look at them. Super Saiyan 3 Goku, where did that come from? Okay, I guess we could say he's a popular form for Goku, but you would think that if you dropped Super Saiyan 3 Goku, you'd have somebody to oppose him with, and we don't get somebody to oppose him with until much later on, into the first reboot, like after this. So, but we'll get there. Scout or Vegeta, okay, we're going back to the Saiyan saga. And who's to pose with Scout or Vegeta? Well, maybe we'll get there in a second. And then we have Frieza. Frieza's a very popular character, so I guess to some extent it was based on popularity, and also they was trying to keep a theme with the Android stuff, and we'll see that throughout this whole 1.0 era of releases. But let's move forward, because there's a lot to go through, and I don't want to hold y'all here forever. Krillin, that's definitely an Android era Krillin. He had the boots and everything. He didn't have the like Chinese slipper, martial arts slipper. But yeah, base Goku. The base Goku could either go with that Scout or Vegeta. It could even go with final 4th form Frieza. But since a majority of this, like I said, seems to be Android related, I'm just gonna assume that's an Android era Goku. We have Android 18 and 17, definitely Android related. Broly, he's not Android related, but he's from the Android era. Okay, and that's what I mean by saga/era. Sometimes it's not directly related to that specific saga, but like if it's a movie or something, it would have been released during that era. and you can usually tell by the characters' outfits that show up in the movie. But either way, Android 16, of course, Android era. And this is where it gets strange again, right? Vegito out of nowhere. Who are we posing this Vegito with? And actually, we're going to come back to that in a little bit. But who are we posing that Vegito with? Ooh, Ultimate Gohan. Who are we posing that Ultimate Gohan with? It's just like just a scene to be following a release schedule of popular characters, and I guess that's cool and all, but it leaves a lot of room for it sets the fan expectations up every which way, because half the fandom is going to be like, all right, can we get the rest of those forms of Cell? Because we got some Android stuff, and then it's like, all right, since we have majority Android stuff, can we get maybe Goku and Gohan in their Saiyan armor when they went to train in the hyperbolic time chamber? But now we have Vegito, so now can we get Buhan? And funny enough, they did show a prototype of Buhan, so everybody that's worried about the Blue Saga, they know about the Blue Saga. They're beating to their own drum, and in fact, that's what inspired this video in the first place, because I got tired of seeing where's Kid Buu, you know? And for Ultimate Gohan, they had a Buu Tank's prototype that they showed off at one point. So I say that to say, they did not forget about the Buu Saga. They're gonna get to the Buu Saga, guys, don't worry. In fact, the longer that they take to get to the Buu Saga, the better, because it gives them time to work out the kinks and whatever articulation technology that they have now. That's how I look at it anyway. Now, next we have Golden Frieza and Super Saiyan Blue Goku from the Revival of F movie. Now, this is one thing that you could say for sure has been present throughout Tamashii's whole run of releasing Dragon Ball figures. They definitely will release in terms of movies / animation. So whatever the major movie or animation is at the time, they will release according to that as well. Because why wouldn't you capitalize off of a major motion picture going on at the time, or if the anime is going on at the time? Why wouldn't you capitalize off of that, right? Building off the hype that the show is creating. People are going to want figures of certain characters. But with that being said, here we go. The first reboot of the line. The 2.0 era. The first reboot. So now we're in the first reboot of the SH Figuarts line. And it starts with, right here, the Warrior Awakening Super Saiyan Goku. Now, this was like an amazing figure when it came out, and I think it still holds up to this day with the paint that's put on it. A level of passion that we don't see too much today. But I don't want to stay too much on this section, because this video I've recorded mad times and it ends up being super long. So I'm going to tell you the theme of this whole reboot era. We'll just call it the 2.0 era, right? Or whatever I decide to call it in the title card. The theme of this era is pairs. Everything is in pairs, not necessarily an overarching theme, but figures are released and kind of to go with each other. So for example, premium color Vegeta, Super Saiyan Vegeta, premium color Trunks, they go together. Beerus and Whis go together. And one could make the argument that sometimes it could be like a trio of figures that go together. Like I was gonna say Super Saiyan Blue, Goku, Vegeta, and Golden Frieza. Now that's more like relating to animation, I would say. So Vegeta wouldn't really count too much there. Saiyan Armor Trunks, Vegeta, Battle Damage Gohan, Premium Color Cell, Time Patroller Trunks, and the Xenoverse main character 2.0 Scouter Vegeta and Nappa. Y'all see the general pattern here, right? Now some of these things feel like one-offs, like Super Saiyan 3 Goku. Kaioken Goku could be a trio with Nappa and Vegeta. Yamcha from Saiyan Saga and Tien from Saiyan Saga, those could go together. And then also, like I said, for some of them, it's just the animation, right? It's good to go along with the animation. And for Dragon Ball in particular, right? The Dragon Ball, the sub line of Dragon Ball figures, they kind of beat to their own drum. They just release fairly haphazardly. They just do their own thing. It doesn't necessarily follow a particular rule, but I guess you can even pair them up if you want to. Goku Black, because the Dragon Ball Super anime was still going on. Same thing with Frieza with the Halo. Majin Vegeta, Fat Boo. Y'all see the picture, right? You could technically pair up Trunks with Goku Black, but Trunks would also fulfill the role of the animes going on at the time. Master Roshi, Krillin. I don't know why I was blanking on his name. You could say Bulma, Kid Goku, Mr. Satan. You could still say he could go along with Fat Boo, but Fat Boo also goes with Majin Vegeta. So opposing options there. Great Saiyaman. Well, like I said, for the most part it fits, right? But you can see the general theme there was duos. And then of course we get Super Boo. Super Boo can go with Gotenks. Okay, Dragon Ball Super Broly comes out, so of course they're gonna make figures to go along with whatever the major animation is at the time. Zamasu, whatever, is finishing up Dragon Ball Super. Now Majin 21 is important right here. I'm trying to go through this fast because Majin 21 signifies the Dragon Ball Fighters collab, and according to my good man Cyrus, the Fighters collab from the Dragon Ball Fighters roster is meant to be completed. Alright? Okay, Broly, we already know what that's about. Dragon Ball line, like I said, they kind of beat to their own drum, but you can match up whatever you want to match up with. Jiren, Ultra Instinct Goku. And now, for the feature presentation, the modern era, which starts with Kaioken Goku. The modern era of releases. Now, the reason why I say that the line reboots right here is particularly because I remember we go all the way back to the Frieza era of stuff. Frieza / Saiyan Saga era. Now, one thing to keep in mind when I'm talking about certain eras, the era doesn't mean that it was only that set of figures from that era to be released. So, for example, we talk about Frieza Saga and Saiyan Saga, right? Just because we're in that era doesn't mean those are the only characters from that era are going to be released, is what I'm saying. So, you will get like full power Jiren. We can chalk that up to them finishing off some stuff with the Super anime until they come back to the Super content again, right? So, we have Kaioken Goku, Captain Ginyu, Great Ape Vegeta for the Saiyan Saga, Zamasu, Super Saiyan Blue Vegito. All of that, we can chalk that up to finishing up Super, or rounding out some stuff for Super before we get into the full effect of, you know, doing Frieza Saga stuff and Saiyan Saga stuff. Now, during this time, something we'll also get is little hints towards Android stuff, and I think it starts with this proud Namekian Piccolo. If you read the description for the product, it definitely seems to hint at the combination of Kami and Piccolo coming back together, right? Now, here's what I mean by it being the Frieza / Saiyan Saga era. Kid Gohan, of course, Saiyan Saga. Jace, Frieza Saga. Bardock, he's not from the Frieza. Well, he does appear in the Frieza Saga in a brief flashback, but he fits the theme. You know, his special wasn't in the theme's Frieza Saga. It was before the series even really takes place, right? It's more like a prologue. Prologue. So you can say he fits under the theme of Frieza. Same thing with Raccoon. Raditz still fits under the theme of Frieza. I guess you could say he's a part of the Frieza Force, but really he's part of the Saiyan era stuff. Frieza himself, of course. Frieza Saga. Berta, Frieza Saga. Once again, we get another little dripping of Android Saga stuff, because this is meant to be full power Super Saiyan Goku when he fights Cell. So, you have that there. Now, also, something to keep in mind, once again, is the Fighters roster. And this is why we have Hit. Hit definitely fits into that Fighters roster, completing that Fighters roster at that point. Now, we have this kit for Goku, where it's like eating food and whatnot. You could chalk that up to being something Buu Saga related, but because of just like the area that they're in, like how they promote the product, is definitely when they were having lunch in the back room in between fights. Launch, once again, Dragon Ball stuff. It beats to its own drum. Goku Black. Goku Black at this point in time will fall under the thing of scarcity, because at this point in time, correct me if I'm wrong, somebody can correct me if I'm wrong, Goku Black had already been released twice, but at the same time, both of the times he was released, it was at some type of, it was either a web exclusive or an event exclusive. So it was a scarce figure to get. This one was the general release, so it falls under scarcity. Cooler falls under the one of the new rules, which was it fell under the Frieza era, but also it was a movie, and at that point in time we were getting movie figures, you know, every so often. Now bear with me with this next part because we're gonna bounce around a lot. Okay, TN can, like I said, they were dripping little Cell Saga stuff in there. This is TN from the Cell Saga. We have Bulma, of course, Namek Saga. Super Saiyan 4 Goku, where did he come from? At this point in time, you'll notice they haven't been releasing. Launch was the last Dragon Ball figure that was like under a standard release that wasn't like an event exclusive. And we'll talk about event exclusives later. Super Saiyan 4 Goku is the start of basically the GT characters, which I think are meant to replace Dragon Ball. But we'll see how that goes in the future as, you know, we run out of GT content to make. But either way, we have Android 17 and 18. 17 falls under, I guess you could say, finishing up some stuff from Super, but also definitely fills out a slot for fighters, and you can't have 17 without 18. These two are a duo. Most of the time these characters are released, they almost always released in very close proximity to each other. We have Strongest Man Krillin, once again, dripping some Cell Saga in there, but they're not ready to commit just yet. And we'll see when they get ready to commit, because it's coming up soon. Kefla won the survey where they asked what Dragon Ball FighterZ character would we like to see. And so that's why we got Kefla, but it also, well, it goes without saying, it fills out the fighters roster, but also giving us a little bit more Super. We have 4th form Frieza for the Frieza Saga, Dodoria, Zarbon, Frieza Saga, and now we get a major motion picture with the Dragon Ball superhero stuff, right? Piccolo, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan, all stuff for the movie, right? All promotional figures for the movie. So, but also it's gearing us up for the Android era, and I say that because what was the Dragon Ball superhero movie about? The Red Ribbon Army. So it's gearing us up. It's no coincidence that they lined that movie up, or lined their release schedule up with this movie. Of course, we get Namek Saga Gohan, because now we're slowing down with the Namek Saga stuff, because we've gotten a lot of that stuff for the most part. And then we get First Form Cell. This is like the true, alright, we gearing up for the Cell Saga. Like they was drip feeding us a little bit. Now we got First Form Cell. Krillin, Frieza Saga. Bonafide, Frieza Saga. Okay, Vegeta at this point, this is a year later from that Super Saiyan 4 Goku we saw, right? And at this point, I'm thinking, hey, maybe we get one GT release every year. Now, we know right now that's not true based on what we know, but we'll get there when we get there. Gamma 1 and 2, still, they fall under the theme of being androids. So sometimes, during a certain saga, yeah, these characters didn't appear in that saga, but they fall under the theme of being androids. So they fit in to the whole, well, the theme. We have Porunga, Namek Saga. Turles, you can say Namek's Last Saiyan Saga. Also, he fulfills the role of the Z movie figure, because technically you could say the Gammas and all the superhero stuff fulfills the role of being movie figures. But that's because that's because they're being released because they're relevant to what the animation is, not because of that movie quota that I mentioned before. Second form Frieza, of course, Namek. Pan, of course, superhero. Vegeta and Trunks. Now we're in this Android era of releasing stuff. Of course, Broly, superhero. Now we're slowly getting out of the Frieza stuff, right? Third form Frieza, of course, Gohan Beast is for the superhero movie. This effect kit looks like it's for Namek Goku, but you know, it could be used for any era Goku, really. So don't pay that too much attention. Orange Piccolo, of course, for the movie. Now more bona fide Android stuff. Android 19. We getting infinite latent potential Trunks, which is a repaint, but definitely, you could say it fell under scarcity because it hadn't been re-released up until that. The last time we saw it re-released was back in 2016, and when did that came out? Last year, 2023, which is crazy. Metal Cooler, of course, Android era. It's a movie character from the Android era. Super Saiyan, Goku the legendary Super Saiyan, of course, rounding out some Frieza Saga stuff at this point. Dr. Gero, Android 20, of course, Android Saga. Yamcha, Android Saga, but you could also say that scarcity because the last time we got the Yamcha release was way back, what, like 2017, 2018? Y'all can correct me if I'm wrong. And then we have Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta from the Broly movie, which is basically scarcity because it won a poll and it ended up getting re-released. Now we have GT Goku, and I remember when this came out, I was like, this came out of nowhere, but no, it didn't come out of nowhere. We still following the rule of filling the GT quota, right? And then on top of that, filling the GT quota, he fills out a character from the Dragon Ball Fighters roster. There we go. The Fighters roster doesn't go irrelevant. We can see it now. Mecha Frieza, okay. Android era. Toyotaru Goku. Now, what we could say about this is a rather unique situation because this kind of opens up another what you call it, category, which is characters that are based off of specific art styles. This is based off of Toyotaro. Don't be surprised if we get characters based off of, especially in the future, certain animator art styles like Shida or Yuya Takahashi. You know, so certain key animators or people that do certain character model sheets or what have you. But also, on top of that, it falls under the category of scarcity. Scarcity because the last time we had an Ultra Instinct Goku prior to that, Toyotaro Goku, was way back in, whenever that Ultra Instinct Goku came out, which was 2019, 2020? So it was a while ago. Of course, Battle Power 24,000 Vegeta, or whatever the name is. Of course, Namek, like I said, rounding out the rest of Namek. Super Saiyan God Goku. The first two releases were some type of exclusive. The first release, which I have, was a web exclusive. The second release was exclusive at San Diego Comic-Con. Now, they're making them available in a general sense. So, this is to fulfill, that scarcity that this particular version of Goku had. Kui, Namek Saga. I've used Namek and Frieza Saga interchangeably, so don't mind that. We have Super Saiyan Gohan, Bonafide Cell Saga, Android Saga, of course. Full Power Frieza, once again, rounding out the Frieza era. This particular kit seems to be more specific to the Cell Saga, in my opinion, but because it gives me vibes of the Warp Kamehameha or the Instant Transmission Kamehameha, whatever you want to call it. King Cold, Bonafide Namek era. Not Namek era. Beginning of Android era. Kaioken Goku right here for the general release. Definitely Namek era. And then we have GT Trunks. GT Trunks can be paired with Kid Goku, of course. But you guys can look at this as a reach. However, GT Trunks fulfills the role of Trunks. And Trunks is all over the Android era, so he can fit under the theme of being in the Android era, although I don't think it fits as well. I half don't believe it as I'm saying it, but you can fit him in that role because when you think of Trunks, you think of future Trunks, not this Trunks. Now, Blue Vegeta, you could be like, alright, where did Blue Vegeta come from? He fits into the Fighters roster as well as scarcity. The two times that Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta have been released has been a web exclusive, and then the second time it was another exclusive where he won a poll on premium but got put on Premium Bandai. So both times he was an exclusive. This is a general release, so he fulfills the role of Fighters, filling out the Fighters roster. Even if you look at the head sculpt, he's definitely has a liking to the Fighters roster. And once again, scarcity, because this is the first general release Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta, which is crazy to say, but as long as Super Saiyan Blue Vegeta has been around, there's one last character that should be here, Super Android 17, but that's fairly recent in everybody's mind, so it's not a big deal. But Super 17 fulfills the role of being able to be paired with GT Goku, as well as fitting the theme of being an android. So he fits into this era thematically. He's an android. That's why that in fact, I think that proves my point even further, because Super Android 17, if they was going to release another GT character after Pan, or announce another GT character in general, it would have made more sense to announce a more popular character than Super Android 17. But the reason why he got put out first is because he fits the theme of the era. There you go, right? But with that being said, this is to help you to understand why, for example, I remember seeing a comment like, can you believe that we got Super Android 17 before Kid Buu? Yeah, I could believe it, because we're not in the Buu era yet. Every major villain has their own era to themselves. Right now, we're in the Android/Cell era. So we're going to focus on the androids and whatnot. Now, when we get to the Buu era, which will probably, unfortunately, be still in like another 2 or maybe 3 years, then we'll see an influx of a lot of Buu stuff. In fact, don't be surprised if during the Buu era, one of the first GT characters you see in the Buu era will probably be Maju. Why? Because thematically he fits with Buu. But all that being said, this has been Bombastic Plastic. Stay fantastic, yo. I flew through this. All right. Actually, I'm gonna record this. I was gonna record this separately, but yeah, event exclusives mostly have to do with scarcity or a form that, I don't know, for whatever reason they want to put behind a paywall. I can't tell you that part. And what I mean by a form that they want to put behind a paywall is having, like, for example, Ultra Instinct Sign or Omen. I like saying Omen, but Sign Goku, right? Why is that particular form behind a paywall? Kaioken Blue Goku. Why is he an event exclusive, right? Doesn't make sense. Android 21. I can't even tell you why she was a premium event exclusive. Oh yeah, she was an event exclusive, but I swear she was a premium Bandai exclusive first. I don't know which one came first, but either way, a lot of these other releases are usually repaints that reflect more the manga colors. Like we seen this Bulma before earlier, but she had the blue hair and not the purple hair. So it's usually to reflect, manga colors or more screen accurate colors, or if it's not something more screen accurate, it's just another reason to give us a repaint of a figure that was very hard to come by. And with all that being said, this has been Bombastic Plastic. Thank you for listening. Indeed, if you still are. Until next time, you're dismissed. Goodbye. Press a 1 in the comment section or the chat if you got that reference.